What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Neumy here. We're back, and we're gonna do a little PGA Best Ball edition. It's gonna be great. Let's see if I can figure this out perfect. Got my boy Chris here, the freak in the sheets, the man behind the sheet, the Excel sheet that you all see for baseball and for golf. And who knows, maybe if he busy season it wraps up here, we can maybe have him thrust together something for some NBA, but who knows? How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. Less busy season now, so that's good. But I will say that the NBA playoffs they intrigue me from a sheet perspective, and we'll see what the schedule looks like in the next couple weeks because I think playoff best ball is my personal favorite form, and this PGA stuff is very very similar. So I might need to throw my hat in the ring for that, and when that happens, then a sheet usually follows. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we love to hear that. Yeah, and the playoff basketball stuff is exactly why I think it. We don't need it for the regular season. It's the playoff stuff when that game theory and all that fun comes into play. So yeah. But we're here today for the good stuff, the PGA. Let me zoom in here, for anyone. So we're making sure that's good. I'm pretty sure that's good there. But yeah, we're just gonna straight up talk the landscape of underdog PGA basketball. And of course. I'm gonna not have this. Can't show it, but we have the Albatross, which is the $10 contest, and then now we've had the standard $3 warm ups, and they even threw together a $250 big boy contest as well. We'll get into that and show those if you haven't seen them, but right now we're talking the landscape of all those contests, and you have the sheet updated, molded, ready to go. What do we need to know? What has changed since you've last updated this sheet? It's been a good couple weeks since the thing's been updated. So what'd you find?
Yeah, we did a sweep yesterday and today because we have official qualification criteria now for each of the four majors. And yeah, this is the page here in the sheet that you're going to want to dig into. That the Open Championship one is the last one I just updated, so I haven't changed the title. But if you click on the links there for any of the names of the things, you will see that takes you directly to the actual official 2023 criteria. So there's no more guessing around kind of what the criteria is going to be, which is what we had to do before. Now we know a large portion of the players that are going to be in each event. And the only thing really that's left for us to project and speculate is a handful of these yellow and orange fields. So that is kind of the guessing game that we're playing at the moment. We're going to get into a little bit of the differences on the player stats page in terms of who's in, who's out, and who's a maybe. But from this criteria page here, you can see that the last couple of updates that have been added, those 3 orange or 4 orange tabs, essentially those are the bulk criteria categories is what I'm calling them.
Yep.
And what those are just, if you haven't qualified for anything else, this is probably your last best shot to get in. It's usually some form of a top 50, 60, 70 in OWGR from the week of the tournament. That's usually the main criteria. The only one that's different is the PGA. And what that does is they do only money made on tour this year and last year after the PGA Championship. So it's actually a special list that I've been compiling, and they have on their website as well. That one is interesting, and that is going to be, I think, the one major roadblock for the live guys that we can talk about in a little bit. But for the OWGR ones, those are pretty set in stone and standard, and we're just going to keep updating them every week as the ranks themselves get updated here. In terms of the other yellow cells in here, those just basically are your other last gap chances. So if you win the players this week, Chad Ramey, come on down. You get into all of the majors this year and next year and the year after that. So those are your chances, essentially. Green is stuff that's already been decided and is already reflected in the sheet. And those are confirmed. Those are going to be our big green yeses. Whereas the asterisk ones, on the player stats page, those are your projected in as of now, but not 100% confirmed. And it is golf; anything can change. So those ones, I would, depending on the player, depending on the situation, most likely, but never certain until essentially the week of, or until they qualify by some other method. So that would be the caveat that I would throw out here right off the top.
Gotcha. And the player stats page that he's referring to will be just the second one here right after information. It's going to have basically the holy grail of what you're going to be looking at here. I mean, it has everything in terms of what he was just talking about laid out perfectly there for you. ADP trends, live ADP, and then you can, get into the good stuff more as we get in there. We'll be touching on that as we start to just go on and rank these players here and get into drafts. But I think the thing we'll touch on then is we're looking at a landscape. What's going on? Sorry. Yeah, I know you got it here.
We're missing overlays. It's just me, you, and the sheet right now. I got a black screen around us.
Yeah. Gotcha. I know John right now is absolutely just going nuts. So
you ruined his 2 p.m. Pacific time nap with this.
How's this? We better?
Oh,
back up
that's
there.
Sweet. Yeah. No,
perfect. Yeah.
We're looking legitimate.
Yeah, when you're trying to do this out here, and basically you're the guy that isn't running the ship. All of a sudden you get thrust into that I'm the captain now. It's like, okay, a little bit of a jitters here. I'm Chad Ramey on the 17th. I'm about to put in the water twice. So
it's all good. We've been saved off the wood.
Yeah. Oh man, love it. So let's just get into right away then the ADP risers. This is what let's just get into straight what's happened since you've updated this. Wow. That is it's crazy because I know I'll shout out Buck and Smoot, who's been, I think he's maxed this albatross. Well done. He's talked over and over how he's got ninth round Kitayama with Woodland. He's got 10th round Woodland over and over again. He's got these guys just at low prices, and I love that. That's definitely a way to go about it. But right away, when you look at these ADP risers, does anything jump out to you besides that Tiger should definitely be number one?
Well, yeah, obviously, just out of respect. The lack of decency on these streets is absurd. The Ricky Fowler number is fucking insane. I don't get it. I mean, I get that he's like
old
flashed.
Ricky. It's old Ricky.
I know he's flashed a couple times. I'd rather take Jason Day, I think. At least Jason Day has like showing flash and some like real contention stuff. I feel like Ricky's just giving people the feels, and they're remembering old Ricky and they really want to just push him up. He's going in a range now that I could not tolerate, especially compared to some of the other guys that are like Joaquin Neiman right now is going in the like 29, 30, 31 range. Like that's offensive to me and Joaquin. So that one jumps out to me. Keith, Kurt, and Kirk, the three of them have made legitimate rises up the board, I think, based on their wins, which means they're qualified for, at the very least, the Masters, and most likely some of the other ones too. Getting your foot in the door at the Masters is huge because smaller field, less people to compete with, like just across the board. It is one of the better shots to like post a really good score that can vault you up or thrust you up the OWGR or like FedEx Cup rankings. So just getting yourself into that by winning one of these tournaments is huge. And those three I can tolerate, but this Ricky Fowler number is insane to me, truthfully.
Yeah, that's been it's been interesting to watch him rise up there. It's been interesting to watch the guys just that have been playing well, that aren't already up there. X out John Rahm, X out Scotty, X out the top guys, like these bottom guys that all of a sudden have been playing well that I kind of pushed back, which it wasn't really someone saying, it was mainly just like, oh, I'm really happy I have a lot of exposure to this guy. He's doing well in this round of this tournament. I'm like, I don't know how much they correlate. Like obviously you'd like to have your guy being in good form coming into the Masters. That's always a plus. You would love that. But once you get there, I think everyone will tell you it's a different beast when you step onto Augusta. Like you'd like to be in good form, but just having course comp, having playing there is probably I would weight higher. So it's interesting just in leverage and how to play these drafts when you see just Kurt did well, won a tournament, like all of a sudden now he's warranted 18 spots from his, from his initial spot. So, and then we can contrast that with the ADP fallers here. And I think Daniel Berger being the top one for good reason. Basically, we don't know if he's even we don't know where he's at. We've heard his updates, which don't provide any clarification because we haven't seen him on a golf course. So to me personally, seeing him up there, that kind of warrants it. I don't know about you, but I'll give you the floor there. What basically What do you see from the risers, or yeah, from the fallers here?
Burger is painful. I will admit that one I was early on being in on Burger, just purely maybe he's back and he's healthy. It feels real bad now. I got a lot of like 45, 46 overall Burger, and then double down at 48, 49, and then triple down at 50, 51. I don't know if and when he's going to play. And even if he does, like he's borderline qualified for any of these things. He wasn't healthy enough last year to end the year. Some of these, he could get bailed out by being a member of the last Ryder Cup team, I think is his backdoor way into some of these, but like it's really dicey for him. The other main trend here is there's a whole lot of black, and those are just live guys that are sliding down the board. Which is to me weird. I think a lot of the uncertainty surrounding them at the beginning was due to what is the qualification criteria, and are they going to be banned in any way or make their kind of way into the tournament harder? And the answer is no. Like the criteria all came out. It was the same as what we had seen last year and the same as what we had expected. So realistically, these guys that are at the top here, a lot of them have qualified already for multiple majors, and a couple are on the borderline of qualifying for another. I think this is purely just they're not in the spotlight right now and people wondering how good they are going to be at golf that weekend. I think we're getting a discount still. I'm out of slows at the moment, but I'm gonna be back in hopefully next week at some point. And I'm gonna double down on some of these guys, like the Bryson, Mito, Joaquin, Brooks probably are gonna be the four that I'm really gonna like. And even Patrick Reed, he's a little bit more dicey, but like those guys that are gonna be qualified, I don't see why not on a pure golf skills perspective. 4 days teasing the ground for 72 holes, like those guys are just as good as the other dudes going around them.
And just another thing to point out is Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka are former Masters champions. So Brooks Koepka Masters champion,
Brooks.
right?
No,
Open.
Brooks was
Open. He was in it. My bad. My apologies. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I have full swing in my mind, but he's Masters champ or Masters experience for both of them, and even these guys up here. Paul Casey.
Brooks has finished second twice, I think, at the Masters.
That's what I'm thinking, because I had in my mind when all of a sudden they asked him, do you know who won the Masters this year? And he's like, I have no idea. For some reason, I'm like, that was Brooks. No, that was him talking about Scotty. But I mean, my point stands. He has experience, and he's now if you've done it, placed second, like that's what I'm trying to wait. And if they're falling down, that just goes right into it.
From an overall strategy perspective, I really like the Brooks and Bryson plays in particular, because the way that I'm building my teams, as we talked about on the first stream from a couple weeks ago, go check that out if you need any like general kind of tournament info, strategy info. That's kind of the stuff that we all covered right up front, golf, etc. The way that I'm building is essentially barbelled by the majors. The Open is very important because that's where all the money is. And the Masters is just as important because it has the smallest field, the least number of people. You got to get out of your pod and all that. The two in the middle are the US Open and the PGA, which are going to be the hardest to by far, probably, in terms of just conditions and course, and just like scoring is going to be lower for those two tournaments. Brooks and Bryson are two guys that, in my opinion, thrive on hard courses and in hard setups. And even if they're not going to go out there and be able to score with everyone else, Brooks can grind the fuck out of a hard course. Guy won back-to-back US Opens. He won back-to-back PGA Championships. Like, he can absolutely kind of keep it in play and contend in any of those hard-ass tournaments. So I'm really hoping to just let kind of variance take the wheel for those middle two and try and send through a couple of loaded Open teams, just by, the courtesy of having a couple spike weeks for some guys who put together a good weekend at these harder, lower scoring events. That's kind of my overall plan, and those two fit really well into that from where they're going right now.
And I believe to your point, if you guys want to also check out this, what Chris was just talking about in terms of the overall scoring for like in terms of just converting that to underdog and the tournaments, he has them laid out and shows basically the underdog points that they scored here. And you can put into example right here, the Masters, Scotty being 130. I mean, he did kind of run away with it. We'll put that into perspective. But then look at the PGA Championship, like look at the US Open, and then look at the like British Open in terms of scoring. It's absolutely just it's wild apart. And when you were talking about these two middle just being grinded out type these tournaments, and the Masters sometimes being that I mean, it was 10, but sometimes getting up there in score. So I think since we just covered that, we can just kind of go right into what a show, and shout out, John letting us know his favorite burgers. All those are probably better than Daniel. Probably better option if you want to choose one of those in the later rounds right now in these drafts. But what our plan was to run through, maybe not top 75, see what time permits, top 50, top 60, whatever. And let's run through, make a little custom tier rank, see how we agree, disagree on some of these. I'm going to get a sheet over here so I can have another one looking at it. And I think we talked about it right from the get-go, but our top three are pretty much set in stone. And when in terms of like having them, I would just go in ADP. That's how I would do it, and I think you're gonna kind of fall in line there. Yep.
I agree. Yeah. This is kind of the unassailable top three for me at the moment. I probably would say that they're actually closer in ADP than this suggests. I think that the three of them are like by far kind of the best three players in the world at the moment. Wouldn't shock me at all to take any of them in any order here, truthfully, at the top. And I think that you are at a significant advantage if you get a top three pick in this year's contest, because you get one of these guys and you're going to get to pick off somebody else that we like from the next year. Rom right now is on just a worldly heater after not winning as much last year for his standards. And then Rory, I think pure golf skill is the best player on earth. It just depends on what player shows up every week. And then I think Scotty is currently your like consistency king. Like, I don't know the last time that we showed up for a weekend and it wasn't like, oh fuck, Scotty's lurking or around. Like, the guy's a killer, and he is just a nightmare to be matched up with on the weekend, because he will beat you in any possible way, or he will wait until you beat yourself and then essentially just take over from there. So I think this is your top three and no questions asked.
Love that. Now let's get the housekeeping. I've already done them, but GM, afternoon, everyone, what's going on? Brett, our boy, and then Noah in here too. GM. Appreciate you guys being here on a Friday night. We know that the last thing most people want to be doing is maybe sitting down, listen to that. The sickos are here, so we do appreciate that. We know a lot of you are probably going to be watching this on the replay, which is just fine. That's why we're here and building these ranks. And I will say, as he's kind of going on this and building out this next little tier here, we are going to have these available, basically, of what this little here that you can download, and basically pick these up, insert them in there, and really not think twice about building about your ranks or anything like that. The only thing you have to do is, if you want to do combo ownership, you can kind of mark that and kind of track that your own. But yeah, we'll have these available for you. And yeah, I'm going to go in and say right here is I basically agree with you in terms of you're doing this. I think you can have your player takes. That's just fine. But for me, it's just like I just kind of follow ADP in the way it's going. When I'm building a portfolio, I'll be using, obviously, it's a tool to help me kind of track my ownership, making sure I don't have just crazy things. If all of a sudden I think like, hey, you get to the 2-3 turn, or you get to the 1-2 turn, which you're sitting here at 6-7. It's like, if I have the same kind of combo over and over again, I may take someone from this bottom tier, maybe thrust one up type say, because the one thing about golf I think you'll agree with is on any given round, it's one of the most variant sports. So ADP is just an artificial construct here, as much as you want to say it. So as we say, we do follow ADP. At some point when you are building your portfolio, I will just go out of my way and get different combos. It's just kind of the way drafts fall to you, and you're doing that. But when it comes to this is kind of how I would rank it in terms of these. I would just go by ADP. Is there anything you want to touch on here in this next tier 2?
These 7 guys would be my full second tier. I think we're kind of in agreement. That's where I would cut it off. In terms of specific player takes, just if I had to go against ADP in 2 spots, I think I'm flipping Colin and Xander.
Okay.
And then I'm flipping Cantlay and Homa. I think
And
those would be.
I was gonna say the exact same thing, except Cantlay and Homa. I would agree with you in just my player takes. I think Colin is definitely justifiable of being that 5. I think you want to talk about a dude that just scorches earth when it comes to his irons. Don't let Colin Morikawa get hot, because when you see him climbing up that board, everyone starts to gulp. I mean, Xander's got that too. For me, it's just up here. Yeah, Homa's been kind of on a little bit of a slumpish after starting out pretty hot this year, but yeah, and it really is nitpicky. I think the next thing when it comes to that is the guy and then right after Cameron Smith, but I have no problem with flipping these guys and these player takes. Like I just said, they're kind of interchangeable to me. The one thing that I think we start getting into question marks is this Cam Smith.
You could talk me into Cam Smith as high as like 5 or 4.
Yeah.
Truthfully. And even now that I'm looking at this, I kind of like Zalatoris over Homa as well. You could talk me to Zalatoris as high as 6. Like, I fucking love that
Yes.
guy. And I really think he has the game to. He was going down the Tony Finau path last year, where it was second place Willie Z. And then he came up huge in that FedEx Cup event where he won at a great, tough track and a tough field. And I think that he has, like, we saw him in those like US Open PGA events last year. He's got a second place in the Masters. Like, guy can compete any day with anybody. And I think that the way he goes about game planning and playing just gives him an edge. Like, in terms of guys that I perceive as being sharp analytically, I think Willie Z is very close to the top of that list. And I think I love his game, and I'm on him quite a bit. I will be on him for the duration of this thing. And I think that every week in and out, he has the upside to be the best player on the course. So these 7 are pretty tightly packed for me. I like JT is meh. Like, he's just in there because of the pedigree. It truthfully wouldn't matter to me to take him 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, I would just, this whole back half of the draft, I'm completely fine changing up combos. I've gone Homa Zalatoris at the turn. I've gone Zalatoris Cam Smith at the turn. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. I'll just change it up and mix it up because I think these guys are that close together.
Yeah, 2 good points I'll just touch on real quick is that Willie Z in the competitive courses, you just touched on it with these 2 in the middle tournaments and even the Open Championship. Just all around, Willie Z gets up for these, and he's always there. He plays the difference between the Willie Z, and we were talking about the Tom Kim, where he's kind of doing to do that birdie fest shootout, finding these guys that can grind out here. And then the one thing I'll comp this to is it just feels like in MLB, we have those top 3 outfielders. And then basically after that, you can interchange the remaining 4 through 10. This feels like that clump of outfielders for anyone drafted in the MLB streets. It really just, to me, it's interchangeable. You can do what you want. Jordan Spieth, you can move him down to 50 if you want, because I'm not taking him. I think we're in alignment here. Death taxes and Jordan Spieth not being able to put together back-to-back solid rounds Jordan Spieth is, I don't know if you could pay me to draft Jordan Spieth right now. It just, I get the pedigree and I get what he has been, but man, is he just the most infuriating and frustrating player to watch. In terms of the Justin Thomas, your quote today and your tweets that you sent me about basically he's too good at shot shaping for his own good. He just tries to pull out the Tiger shot in every way. That seems JT. Whereas it's just Jordan Spieth seems like he's just on fire again this morning. Starts out with 2 birdies, and then next thing you know, he just doesn't even know where his swing went, and he's just hitting it into the side of a hill. He's hitting it into bunkers. And you were joking that he's going to get up and down after being plugged in the side of a hill, going for the green and on his third shot. It's incredible. Yeah. So a long-winded Jordan. I'm out on Jordan Spieth. I would gladly take him kind of if he gets that fall. Sure, I'll do it, but it's tough with the guys around him here. Yeah. For me, I like what you're doing here. I think we are both in agreement that Dustin Johnson is just undervalued. I know you kind of have him interchangeably here. You're kind of doing some stuff, but Dustin Johnson could go right after Cam Smith in terms of me. He's probably the one guy in terms of pure skill that could push up into this next tier 2. It's just a matter of what DJ you're obviously getting there. So I don't know. You want to touch on tier 3?
I like that. I think that is a good way to go about this. I think DJ is one of the live guys right now who's not getting dragged down the board. And I think that resistance is showing in terms of his ADP kind of hanging out in the same spot. I like the upside is like, it's so good at each one of those 4 events. We're going to show up and he's going to be a top 6, 8 favorite, like in terms of the betting market. Like you roll up and he's going to be there at the top of the board. And I think that people are just discounting him because we haven't seen him play competitively. He is the supercharged version of what I talked about with Bryson and Brooks being able to compete at the tough tracks, but also with the caveat of a guy won the Masters 2 years ago and can compete in any open any year. Like he is pure talent. Like Rory, I think was the one that I said earlier is number 1. DJ is like on that next year, just good at golf. So I think we're getting a discount with him. And if there's going to be someone who like breaks this game wide open, it's gonna be this DJ pick. I think for me, I don't really discount the elite live players based on their lack of competitive stuff, and I think he is a guy like guy's cashing his checks, but the dude wants to win every time he goes out, and that's not going to change just because he's not playing with the other guys every single week. Like they're going to show up to the biggest 4 events of the year and they're going to play. So no qualms with DJ. And then I think you're right about the rest of this tier. The 2 guys that I've dragged down are Spieth and Cam Young.
Yep.
Spieth just has that magic beans shit. That is basically unassailable. He is guy's won 3 majors, just creative as fuck. He can do anything at any time. And then he'll miss like a 3-foot putt. And he is just one of the most tilting players on earth, but wouldn't count him out, especially at the Masters and the Open where he's won before. And like the game got hotter than the sun. When he gets hot, it's unlike kind of anyone else is getting hot because it's just putts pouring in from everywhere, shit's bouncing the guy made the cut today because he launched his tee shot on 9 or 18, wherever he finished, like way out to the right, took a bounce off a fan, and then came back into play and he holed out for eagle. Like it's just like stroke gain magic beans. That's the Pat Mayo and Jeff Feinberg shout out, but that's their stroke gain magic beans. Like that's what Spieth does. Cam Young, I don't think belongs with these other guys. Truthfully, I think he is the poor man's Willie Z he finished well a lot last year. He had the good kind of ball striking metrics and people like to take him in this range. I think that Finau, Hovland, Fitz, and Sungjae are a clear tier ahead, and I wouldn't have a problem actually dropping Cam Young down to tier 4. Truthfully, he'd probably be at the front of that tier for me, but I think he is the one here that doesn't fit among this group, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think betting odds will also kind of just go right in line with that, is that the guys below him have just better odds than Cam Young in almost all of these majors. So that's you're right in line with that. And I would kind of cap it at here. Honestly, you could tell me like Cam Young, kind of like he definitely the end of this tier 3. And then we kind of get into the question marks that we have here. Chris is going to start putting him up there. My Sweet Prince, my favorite player on tour, just in terms of pure, he's absolutely electric, absolutely excited. If you watch Tom Kim and his ascension last year, the dude is just the most authentic dude on tour. Will tell you. I mean, he just eats as much fast food as possible. He's great. And then he can put the ball in the hole. And that the birdie fest that he went on to win last year were just unbelievable. But like you were talking to me earlier, he seems to be a guy that can run on those tracks where it's like it's like 15 under, 20 under type thing, and you're battling out for birdies. It remains to be seen on these. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be a first timer at the Masters. Gonna be a first timer at probably almost all of these events, unless he won one beforehand. I think he snuck into the FedEx Cup championship. That's what he was playing at the end. You can correct me if I'm wrong there.
He made it into the FedEx Cup, but I actually don't know what his major history looks like. It's probably not very long, and it's probably not very
good. Yeah.
if I had to guess, just based on
Yeah, I can kind of pull that up here, but yeah, as being a guy who's 20, I do not believe that he is have much of that. But again, a guy that can stroke it. It's just a biased pick. I'll obviously pick some Tom Kim when he's available. But this is when you kind of start getting into, for me, just like the question marks. Not really question marks, but you're just really getting the unique combos. You're trying to fill that up and have yourself available. And it really is just player bias when it comes to these guys here. Yeah, I like this a lot, as they you can really clump them into some like a big tier. Is there anything you want to specifically touch on? What do you see different from maybe ADP and how you would rank these guys? You're probably going to do that right now, but what do you have different? I know you're going to probably move my boy down, which is perfectly fine. It's probably
a little bit.
It's the right move, so I totally agree. But
will be nice. But the guy that stands out to me in this range is Sam Burns. I think I almost want to put him ahead of Cam Young, truthfully. And I know he has been shit recently. I believe in skill, and I think that when it comes down to it, if we're Sunday of the PGA Championship and it's final group Sam Burns and John Rahm, or Sam Burns and Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns don't give a fuck. He's gonna go out there and try and slay some dragons. And I think that, guy's been on the Ryder Cup team. Guy has gone toe-to-toe. Guy beat Scotty Scheffler in playoff last year. He has the game, in my opinion, to show up and show out at any single one of these major weeks. And I don't think he belongs with some of these other guys. I think that just skills-wise, they're still around. And I think that he is getting dragged down by some negative finishes recently. But I think that the core skill in Sam Burns is top 10, top 5 player in any given week. So that's the one that I would shoot up the ranks here. And then we touched on Jason Day a little bit. I would rearrange this range, I think, to be a little more Euro and live heavy. And I'm dragging down what I would call the PGA Tour grinders in this range. So that's going to be your Day, Keegan, Corey, Siwoo, probably. Siwoo's a weird one. But those 3 guys and Sahith. Sahith is the one that I switched out here too. Love Sahith. Full swing. His episode was awesome. Seems like a great, normal, chill dude. Don't think he belongs in the same class as some of these guys. Tommy Fleetwood's gone out and he's tied for the lowest round in US Open history. Tommy, Lowry, and who else was on my list here? Neiman. Those 3 are, and Hatton. Those 4 are going to be much higher in the Open Championship odds when they open up than this list. Just not a chance. Unless they are on a catastrophically bad run of form going into that, they're just not going to be in this range at all. So I have been pushing those guys up ahead of what I would call the known quantity PGA Tour guys. And I think there's a break there. And I think that that's one of the spots that we can kind of take advantage of in the mid range here. Once you get away from the elite guys that are going to be 4 majors locked in, chance to win in every one. Now we got to start picking nits. And I think that's where I'm going to draw my line and pick my nits.
I love that. I'm going to do a little housekeeping here. Before we touch on kind of these back end guys here. What's going on, Nick? Appreciate you stopping by. Really appreciate the rankings plus the stream. Little dip my toe. Yeah, man. It's awesome that they have the $3 available for people that maybe don't want to go spend the 10 and they want to be able to max a tournament at that $3 price point. I think it's perfect. I'm excited that they're going to do it. Basically, it seems for alongside every contest. Yeah, this is fun. This was a little bit of mine, mostly Chris's idea. But I will say the programming for the sheet definitely my idea. We couldn't be here without my Excel skills. But and then appreciate that. Yeah, I just on the side here I just put the little. I know you can't do pick'ems, but DJ Mitchell is doing the Lord's work for pick'ems for NHL right now. I just got to shout him out. Dude is just on an absolute heater night in and night out. So if you have the ability to tail, DJ Mitchell _94 on Twitter. Hopefully I'm getting that right. DJ _Mitchell 94. Follow him on Twitter. Tail his picks. He's great. Sheep's asking here, did you listen to the Brandon Adams podcast with the guy who did the training / game theory stuff with Willie Z?
I haven't listened to that pod, but I have actually last summer I started playing a lot more often, and GA just said the Bears traded their first string.
Okay, well we're important people here, so we're gonna stop this program. We have apparently the Bears have traded their first, so I have to check Twitter here.
Carolina, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and wide receiver DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, that's fun. Okay, well, I know this is a PGA stream, but you came here. He said, "I want the Neumy reaction," and my man came here for it. That's fun. Initial reaction is good on that. That's really. So you said 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore.
Yeah, pick number 9 this year, pick 61, a 2024 first, a 2025 second, and DJ Moore. Shit.
So they moved down only 8 spots, got 9, and then got an extra first, 2 second, and wow, that's just initial reaction, not going through it. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. I like that. It scares me as an NFC North guy. Sorry for anyone here. It's like, we're not coming here for NFL. Everyone comes here for the NFL. It's NFL lives in our brains nonstop. But that's
that feels good.
For
Chicago, truthfully. Moore, I feel like Moore's on a pretty reasonable contract too. So that's a haul. Shit.
That's really fun. All right. Well, come Monday on the Mad Road stream, we'll obviously break it down. Probably gonna hop into a draft. We'll find a bit to do. You know that.
But you heard it here first. Suck it, John. Suck it, Nez.
You exactly heard it here first. We broke the news. Yeah, suck it, Schefter. No. Let's see here. Yeah, finish with an eagle though. Yeah, I mean, again, the magic beans for Jordan Spieth. And then
let's go back to.
I just want to say this is great. Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. Paul, I mean, he's the man of the people out there. He's like, I know what everyone wants. And you know what? You know what's going to advance you through when Tiger wins the Masters. So,
like, you get the feel good and the just, the push him through everything.
The sweat equity of actually having units on Tiger and him actually like being like, oh man, that would just be, I mean, it's going to be fun because I'm definitely going to have some Tiger. It's tough now. I tried to get him more, but he's moved up reasonably. But yeah, it's going to be undeniable. All right, so let's go back to this sheet.
Back to sheep because this is a great call.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the Brandon Adams interview. I've heard Scott do other stuff, and I actually tried out his like intro package, essentially. It's kind of game theory, but it's basically working on the mental game, and just did one of the trials last year during the summer, and it was awesome. I would highly recommend if you're getting into golf and thinking about basically once you've gotten to the point where you can get around ish and you're not scoring very well, Scott's stuff will help you score better just based on the way he thinks and process wise. So I totally can see where the Willie Z kind of background and success comes from, because his stuff is super sharp, and essentially it's called the decade system. And it's a mathematical methodical way of approaching prepping for each and every shot, aiming, how to pick a precise target. He's big on like aim small, miss small, essentially. And you'll see he works with a bunch of PGA Tour guys, and you'll see them essentially doing the quote unquote decade math out on the course in terms of picking precise targets and like the right thoughts to have about going around. So it's probably a like course management type deal. And I think it really shows in what Willie Z does. One of the JT points we talked about earlier is hitting all the shots. One of Scott's big things is you don't need all the shots. You need one or two shots that work really, really well so you can figure out exactly where you're going to hit it and where it's going to end up, and then you work around from there. Willie Z is also excellent at two things that Scott preaches, which is bogey avoidance and double bogey avoidance for, amateur golfers, and putting from distance. Putting from distance and like gauging speeds is incredibly, incredibly important, especially on tough tracks with tough greens. Willie Z got roasted for that horrible like figure 8 ass backswing on his like 3-foot putts last year. Yep. And that has just absolutely skewered his like reputation and basically everyone's opinion of his putting skills. His lag putting and his basically 3-putt avoidance shit is excellent because he is a fantastic judge of speed on these courses. So that really plays up at the hardest courses, the US Open, the PGA, the Masters greens. Those greens are fast as fuck, and judging speed on them is almost impossible. And that is a big part of the reason, besides being, an A+ ball striker, why he's able to succeed. It's because he basically has the putting speed skill down pat, and that is like one of Scott's big things. So I would recommend definitely going to check out whatever podcast he did with Brandon Adams, because he's also a super sharp dude, and I know he's been on with the Bet the Process guys too, and I think Peter Jennings as well. Maybe Levitan had him on. But yeah, Scott is super sharp and would definitely recommend looking at his stuff if you're considering playing more in the future.
Yeah, that's a great shout, and yeah, sounds like Willie Z plays great in underdog scoring. I'm pretty sure he does. If I'm just gonna go off the top, when I was checking that out, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was actually kind of like in terms of the guys around him. But no, yeah, he already did it today. He had 2 leg putts of like 50, or it was like 45 and 50 feet, where he's just like, you know what, like I'm a little bit off the green. No, let me just putt this right up next to the hole. But that's when you'll get the Willie Z experience. Last year was like that figure 8. It's like all of a sudden it's a 3-foot putt, and now he makes that 3-foot putt like a 4-foot putt on the other side. And it's like, what just happened there, Willie? But all right. So we have here, because I want to try and get this moving. It's my fault, I know. Shocker. So we can get in some drafts here. The bottom of this, I know we talked about that. We have Brooks, we have Bryson. I think we are, as you were going to say, thrust them up. Like you said. Now, the thing we like to preach with rankings is they're not gospel. Use them to your advantage. As if we're going to rank them here and we're going to have that here, I think it's safe to say that we're not going to draft them at this pick. We're not going to go and put them at 30 and 31. You definitely can to get some unique context, because again, ADP doesn't matter. But if you can get some value out of them, definitely go ahead. If you can pluck one of these next guys out of that tier, or maybe get a couple guys from this tier and get them at that actual ADP, that's going to be your goal. Obviously you guys know that in any best ball thing or any best ball contest, but yeah, now we move on to this tier 5 here, and we're getting in basically 32 through 40. Any quick things you want to touch on this tier? This is when I guess you'll start to see we have our first, and I know you like this is your Ricky Fowler, holy crap. We have our first non-4 or qualified for 4 up here. I know you have the maybes or green, but this is the first actual nose on the screen in terms of qualifying for these majors, and that's Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, he's outside looking in for both the Masters and the Open. I think the only way he gets into the Masters at this point, like what's his OWGR right now? It's not exceptionally high. It's 71, so we'd have to make up essentially 20 spots in the next month or win a tournament. Not ideal. Missing the Masters is huge. I think that's a really, like, you do not want to be handcuffed in that first week. You need 10 guys scoring, because I think we talked about this a little bit before the show. I think there's going to be teams that are boxed out of round 1, and I think you can just do yourself a huge disservice by not being prepared for the Masters round, because there's probably only going to be 60 guys that actually have meaningful scores in that tournament, and you need to be able to play 6 to 8 of them. Like, I think that is going to be super, super important. And good players play well at the Masters. You don't get very many like scrubs that show up and basically finish well. It just doesn't happen all that often. The Masters leaderboards are fucking stacked, and you get the best players in the world showing there, and they play well there for the most part. There's a couple guys that have mental blocks and stuff, but this is dicey. Like I think that this is Ricky feel good stuff. He really, I don't love it. And yeah, here's the list. Like these are names.
Look at these:
Scotty, Rory, Cam Smith, Colin, Lowry, Zalatoris, JT, Sung Jae, Cameron Champ.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at that and it's, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You just look at those first 9. The only one that kind of stands out there is not really like a, maybe that dragon meme where you have a kind of silliness. It would be Cameron Champ. But I mean, again, hits the ball well. But yeah, you just look at that in terms of the names up here. Again, I would highly advise checking this out. Has everything in here. It's just truly really fun if you just want to just look at the last year's tournaments and stuff. Let's go right back to here, the rankings. I think the one thing I do want to touch on here is your favorite player on tour in terms of just how he handles himself, Billy Horschel. Anything you want? Sorry, for the running joke, Billy Horschel is probably one of the most just unlikable. He's slowly getting better, but his antics before is just he's one of the most unlikable guys out there. And it's,
what the worst fucking thing here with Billy Horschel is that he has like a screaming value in this range, unfortunately. The 2 guys from this tier that I would thrust all the way up to the top of this range are Adam Scott and Billy O. I think they're just a different quality of golfer than the rest of these guys. Maybe Taylor Montgomery too, but in terms of skill wise, you could make a case for Taylor Montgomery being in the group ahead, but his qualification status is so dicey. Like 3 maybes and a projected yes is tough. So he is one of the most interesting players to track because I think he's overpriced right now. But as we close in on Augusta, he's a name that you want to know what's up with because he could shift from 1 out of 4 to 4 out of 4, like real quick, if he strings together a couple hot weeks. And you just need to know because his skill is like, there's no difference between him and Sahith, Keegan, Corey, Jason Day, Siwoo. Like he could be easily in that group, in my opinion. But the 2 values here are Adam Scott, who just has a knack for, he has a Willie Z-esque game where he strikes the shit out of the ball and can't putt for his life. So you just need to pray for a hot putting week and hopefully, things get a little bit hard. He will always be a guy who can pop at Augusta, former winner. That just Augusta year over year, I think has the highest correlation in terms of does your history at the course matter? That's kind of the number one, one of his number one things there. And then second would be Billy Ho won the Memorial last year. Like that is a hard ass field and a hard ass course to win at. And he kicked some guys' asses that week. So just in terms of pure like quality of player, he does not belong at 40th. I would bump him up, I think, to the second guy out of this tier. And the rest of the cannon fodder in this range, like Keith Mitchell, Seamus, Ricky, Kirk, Rose, Hoagie, those are just more of the PGA Tour grinder types that have qualified. Essentially, that's why they're in this range. And I think that Billy Ho has qualified because he won the Memorial last year, and he's just a better golfer than those guys. So I think he's getting the unlikable bump because he just acts like an asshole. He's like the one guy I think that is still, or maybe not still, but was still like holding a personal grudge against the live guys. And at whatever the Saudi event they were at before, he was like the only dude that was like, fucking, oh yeah, shit. Like, what are you guys doing here? Like, what's your deal? Disgracing the game. Everyone else is over it. He's just kind of the one guy holding on to the grudge, which is totally like in character for him. So I'm glad that he is, staying on brand, but he would be the guy here for me.
Yeah, and see him in that full swing. He was like a hat backwards. He was just fully bro. Like I was like, is that Billy? And all of a sudden they show Billy. I'm like, that's freaking Billy. He was with Sam Burns. I'm like, that's freaking hilarious. But he seems so Billy. All the time, and it's just hilarious. I honestly, so we rank the top 40 here. When it comes to these next guys, this is when you see guys that are thrusted up in terms of their recent play. We see guys in here, quite a bit of guys in here that I've just been playing in dailies, taking note of, that have just been in terrible form, that have kind of went down as well. This is just a who's of just, you know what I mean? You have you have the GOAT. You have some live guys that are still. I'd like to. I mean, you have Patrick Reed, former winner. You have Abraham Answer, who is qualified for all of these, and just getting a little bit of a downgrade because of live and the uncertainty. And then you just have guys that are just totally out of form, and Aaron Wise, Brian Arman, Harris English will randomly sneak into a tournament and be on the top of the leaderboard and then miss the cut 6-10 over. Sepp Straka, the darling from last year's FedEx Cup, who's not in that great a form as well. Some Euro guys, Mito. What do we have for this tier here?
Answer, Woodland, Reed, Mito. Those are your guys. I'm with you on that. I think that qualification and class are the two things we're looking at here, and those guys have it. Reed is the only dicey one in terms of the PGA. Like, I don't really see what his route is going to be into there, which is a little bit weird because he's just outside the cut for the Masters from his Masters win. And then the US Open is a maybe, but as anyone who watched Full Swing would know, the US Open and the British Open both have a extensive qualifying series where literally anyone with a handicap can show up and try and play your way in. And if you don't think Patrick Reed is going to grind his ass off for 2 days to try and get into the US Open as a qualifier, you're fucked. So he is going to show up and he'll win a qualifier if he's not qualified, and he'll get in. So I'm treating him as a 3 out of 4 guy with a chance at the PGA just in case. Former winner, guy has skill. Like, he used to be a 5 weeks or shit and then 6 weeks of spike week, like, winning. So he's just, some dudes can win and some dudes can't, and he's a winner. So I trust Patrick Reed. I trust Mito too. Like, these live guys, these are the three. I think these are the last 3 live guys that I would take a shot on. I think this is where I draw the line.
Yeah. Same.
Mito has all the skills. He was leading that PGA Championship. He had it essentially won and then choked on 18 and gave it away in that fantastic finish.
He couldn't swing a club normal. That was the most awkward looking, just half hit swing. I mean, he literally looked like a young child out there that has never swung a golf club and was like, okay, and swing it real fast. Like, it was just watching it live. You immediately saw it, and then watching it back, and then I didn't know, seeing that quote of it's like, literally I'm on the 18th hole and I fucked it up. And I'm just like, oh, Mito, oh man, and then just couldn't get home. Like, I agree with you in terms of who you stated out here. Like, they've obviously thrusted themselves up in terms of where they were or back, like, basically a couple weeks ago. But this is the state in which we're drafting at now. And yeah, Gary Woodland is a guy that's 4 for 4. I'm gonna have him up there, like, in this range. The one thing I need to ask you, because I also agree with Patrick Reed and Mito basically being the last live guys along with Answer. I have nothing I want to do basically with Louis, Taylor Gooch, Harold Varner. I'm good on those guys. If they beat me, they beat me, I suppose. But I don't even know off the top of my head, if I just go look at their qualifications, I'm not even sure it's not even that great. So the only other thing I have to ask you here is, if you're drafting these remaining teams and you're looking at this Tiger Woods ADP as a fan and just wanting to have some, are you going to bite the bullet at all and take some? Or are you just going to try? I mean, you've already got some of your shares like that. How are you going to treat this? Because that's just the one thing we have to talk about here in terms of Tiger at a major.
It's steep because
steep.
Don't think he's going to play the US Open, and he might not play the PGA Championship. Like, I just think he physically, last year he didn't do it. A couple of years ago he didn't do it. Even when he won the Masters, he was like, yeah, fuck that. My body is just beat up.
Exactly. The dude literally, for anyone that doesn't know, he at one point might not have had a leg. Like, he had life-saving surgery after the car accident.
Dude was about to get Alex Smith. Like,
he has worked his way back just to play a few tournaments a year. That's the one thing I wanted to bring that up here, because it's like, it's Tiger Woods, man. Like, we got to take Tiger Woods here. Like, he's the green. So, like, that's the caveat for me, is when you see the 4 for Tiger Woods. For me, I agree with you. It's kind of like a 2. Like, for me, it's like a 2 with some maybes, and they're kind of like maybes. So,
yeah. The thing is that the 2 that he is gonna play are the most important 2. And he'll be live to show up at Augusta and win or come close to winning every time until his like body physically can't do it anymore.
Yep.
But if there was actually a major that I would ever pick him to win again, like if I had to they gave me all 4 options, they said he'll win one of these in the future, I'd pick the Open Championship. I think he, that it's, usually the Open is nice and flat. There can be shitty weather. It doesn't have to be the highest scoring thing. I don't think he's winning any shootouts. I think he wins probably a low scoring event, and probably one that he knows very well. So for those 2 reasons, I think you can take him. The ADP is steep. I also think it depends on who's on your team already. If you have like 6 4 out of 4 guys, and then you get to here and you're like, fuck it, Tiger, like let's roll the dice, then go for it. But if you're already sitting on for example, Taylor Montgomery, Jason Day, Patrick Reed, maybe a Neumy, who's technically a maybe for the PGA, Siwoo, a Ricky for some reason, a Keith Mitchell, like those guys, I wouldn't recommend pairing them up with Tiger. But otherwise, you're probably okay to go for a little dip in the Tiger pool. Why not? Like it is also the most strokes gained fun play you can have, like just rooting for him anyway if you're a fan, and then just tacking him on, and if he's the difference, like, whoa, you've hit the like absolute lottery here.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfectly what I wanted to talk about and sum up. Let's hop in and see if we can get one going here. Let's see how many we're gonna need. Watch, it's gonna be 5. All right, we need 2. If there's anyone in here, we got 5 of you. So I would like to think we can get 2 out of 5 to go here. Let's see. Host in the and I just want to say if you for some reason are not in the Badge Bros Discord, we do have a specific golf thread in which his baseball sheet is pinned right there for you. We have a lot of guys talking strat. I know it's a lot of trolling, maybe daily stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff in there that you can kind of keyword and look up too. That people are talking to straight strategy for this tournament. Let's see. Need
albatrossing, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right.
Perfect. Yeah, I saw you put that in there. Love it. Oh yeah. Sending out the bat signal, huh? You haven't got to do that. You're like, yes.
I've never done it before. So
it's fantastic.
That was a rush. Ooh. Yeah, no, I've
watch
been always
them flood.
Yeah, waiting on other people to eventually trickle in. But this is, that was thrilling.
I guess that I don't have a tab. I was silly, and I have the tab showing up just so it's not showing there. But yes, we got to 54. Once you kind of get there, is there anyone else specifically? That's hilarious. I love that. That's accidentally joined the $3
right there.
If we have to do a 3, I think I max it, so we officially cannot do the 3. Yeah, we just need 2 more here. Let's see here.
In terms of other guys, all right, let's take a look at this list. This would be your like roster filler, rando Euro, PGA guy that maybe has the upside. I think on this list, I like Minwoo, I like Mito, I like Louis Tough. That would be. I used to take some Louis, and now I'm kind of out with you. I like Davis Riley. I think he's going to be getting into all 4, and I think he has the skills. Wait,
what?
Are we? We might be good. Oh, okay. Excellent. Wow, what a surprise.
Let's see. Yeah. So Sheep coming out with me saying I joined the 10. Are you delayed? So.
Oh, fuck. Of course we drew the 4. Of course.
Yep. So this is hilarious. For some reason, we're not getting it to update. Yeah. What do we want here at the 4 then?
Ugh. I kind of don't want to take JT, so I'm good with Colin or Xander. You pick.
Take Colin. Let's move up Colin here.
Fuck it.
This is going to be hilarious because something's going on with this, and the fact that who knows if we even get Colin at this point. Apparently we're behind, and we got this beautiful lag going on here. So we got Colin.
Okay.
Let's see here. Colin. Let's stop sharing give me 1 second here. I'm going to stop sharing, do the beautifulness there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Colin's fine for me there. Even I'd go as far down. Who do we? JT, Colin, Xander, Cantlay are probably all fine in that spot, in my opinion. It just at that point, like, what is kind of the benefit of drafting Cantlay if you're gonna? This is one of John's things actually that he mentioned a lot in the dailies that I really like is if you reach to get unique, then you can't also take the value on the way back. So
Do we want to do Homa or do we want to push up Cam?
let's do Cam. Let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna draft from the. Let's see if we can if it's gonna load from this window. Otherwise, that window seemed to be working. Yeah, thank you, Sheep, saving the day there.
Seriously.
I'll watch it on my phone here and see if this ends up working. It's literally never happened in a while that this is because I've been drafting. Let's see. So he's actually at 8. Oh, perfect. All right, we're back. Everything's good. Let's do this. That was hilarious. We could have been sitting here. It would have been like, yeah. So we're just again. We need 2 more. We need 2 more.
Anyone.
Round 6. Round 6 comes
scooping
along.
our value.
Yeah. So this is interesting. That's a fun little value there for a guy at the turn. Like this is the things I think that you'll end up doing. Like I would if you're HD Barrett here, there's no way I'm passing up on the combo of that because like how many combos are you getting?
Correct. He's a smash.
Yeah. So let's see. Is everyone just going to be like? I need to make sure if this is actually. Yeah. So he's actually autoing it now. I'm wondering if it's like delayed or if these people are just milking the clock. It's hilarious.
I feel like there's a lot of set ranks and auto people in these ones because it's very easy to do, and there's like the correlation, like the human touch you really don't need.
There's also a lot of join and then wait and then forget that you joined and then you're in and then you're in here because yep.
Exactly. Yeah, Homa at the turn there is a steal. I don't mind. I don't mind that one bit. The thing that I wanted to hit on is if you it's a John thing. If you reach for uniqueness in round 1 on that turn, you can't settle for value in round 2 because you've just given yourself nothing. You've basically just flipped your picks and you've basically 0. It's net gain of nothing. Like, so if we 100%. Do the Cantlay reach, then hypothetically JT falls to us. We're probably not taking him there unless we just settle for it.
For me, it would be Sunjay or Jason Day.
It's Sunjay, I think, for me.
Yeah, if we wanted, I think if we wanted to do anyone, but yeah, my first initial reaction there is to take Sunjay. Just going off the ranks we did, Young for us is down there a little bit. It kind of pushed down. Tom Kim's kind of down there a little bit. That's a nice pick there by Sheep. I really do enjoy that. Like we just said on Dustin Johnson.
Yeah.
In terms of just peak actual like physical just specimens out there on a golf course, Dustin Johnson may be one of one. That highlight of him like hitting that golf ball in his rookie year, and then the guy like coming back and going like, "Hey, we were up here," and it's just he just drives it 40 yards past them. Like it's just you want to talk about an absolute freak. What is he 6'5"?
Yeah, he's like just a lanky, like I think he plays all state in basketball or something too. Like he crazy, just a freak athlete who would just happen to be really, really good at golf.
And he's got that competitive gene. So for anyone like, plays on Live, like you stated earlier, like he wants to come out there and beat in every golf event. Like he doesn't matter which one it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're sitting at a potential, if this guy's going to pick, we don't know. I assume he goes J-Day, which leaves us with either your boy who you were, we won't say it for the swear jar, but Sam Burns versus Shane Lowry. I think for me, it's definitely, let's see. Is he doing the ranks? Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
For me, I think, like you just said, I would put Sam Burns up there. I wouldn't honestly fault us for doing Lowry. He's been in kind of not that great of form, but a guy that just grinds out these courses and loves to play these gritty, grimy.
Those are definitely the two. I think I would lean Burns. Wouldn't hate on anyone for Lowry. Next, Hatton would be my 3, and then Tommy would be my 4. Maybe Neumy would be in the mix too, just in case. But that's getting a little ahead of myself. I think Burns is the guy here.
Let's do Burns. Yeah, I like Burns. Former FedEx Cup champion not Rory won, and then the previous year, right? Am I correct
He,
there?
he was either like first or second or something. He had a couple, like he had a heater stretch. Won the Valspar,
Yeah, check my
won.
spelling. You guys like that?
Yeah,
I swear he once it was something that he won that year before because he was world number one at one point. So for a small little bit in like 2021.
potentially. Maybe right out of COVID. Did he win something right out of COVID? I remember Berger being the heater guy right out of COVID. It was like, oh shit, Berger just won like twice. But yeah,
Let's see.
Burns is
Will
a
that tell
killer. I
me
like
it's
Burns.
chemistry or onions? Of course it won't. You know what? F you guys. Making it hard on me.
That's okay.
That's a fun pick there with Siwoo. Yeah, you want to talk about a guy that can come out there and he's going to give you he's going to miss the cut by 10 strokes, or he's going to absolute be in that field being a grinder. And that for me, that's Siwoo Kim. And he's been hot this year. He's been real good. I've been kind of fading, or when he's lower in dailies and kind of not owned in these tournaments, he's been one of my guys that I've been going to just flocking to him.
Yeah, Siwoo is a first or last kind of guy. He is heater with the irons, or he is just out of it essentially. So that is a good profile for a best ball contest, in my opinion. And he's live at probably the Masters and the Open, probably not at the middle two. I would imagine it's not. He's more of a scoring fest kind of guy. Like he's won the Players before, he's won the Wyndham, like he's won kind of these shootout type venues. Not the best when shit gets hard, but like guy who can convert to underdog scoring much better than some of these dudes that just grind out pars and stuff. Like Siwoo's gonna spike, and Siwoo's gonna be pin seeking for 4 days.
I think that's something to. Oh my goodness. I didn't even cue him because I'm sitting here like, all right, because I'm not going to cue him because we're going to get him, and he just goes ahead and takes Tommy. All right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I would take Keegan, but I don't know about you. I don't know if you're a Keegan guy.
Yeah, let's do Keegan. It was Keegan or Corey probably. This is a fine
I would just take when for me there, it's just like I'm just going to take that little 3 spots of ADP dip. I was really hoping for Tommy Fleetwood there.
Me too.
The one thing I guess I wanted to touch on was we touched on the previous video, basically the importance of underdog scoring. And we have that in the video. You can check that out. But like you just said, birdie fest, birdies, consecutive birdies. The word birdie is very important to underdog scoring. You showed that last time in the video. Again, you specifically check that out. But the weight in which it was more important, like you want to touch on just basically how it's just we don't really care about bogeys and double bogeys. Obviously double bogeys worse, but like in terms of anything, it's birdies.
Absolutely. Birdies are just like the scale is shifted where like birdies and pars and bogeys are essentially the same thing. Like you really don't gain or lose too much. And then birdies are a gain, double bogeys are a loss, about equal. So it's essentially like one stroke off in either direction. And you need guys that, yeah, exactly. This right here illustrates it well. Par is 1.1 and a bogey is negative 1.2. So really that's not a huge swing, whereas a birdie is 4. So that is the kind of like the thing is shifted towards birdies, and then doubles, and then eagles are even more the other way. So you need guys that can score, and then scoring leads to winning. So essentially you're not getting any points for finishing position. Yes, sir.
I came back and I'm like, that's one of the easier clicks that I will make.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be a live guy, Brooks or Bryson, and I wouldn't really have cared either way.
Yeah. So let's do a little recap here of this. I just want to make sure we have every single person on our team is a 4 for 4, with having Keegan being the only kind of questionable, and I guess Keegan being really the only questionable one with the Open Championship in quotations. Yes. So otherwise, so far we have a 6 of 6, like 6 golfers 4 for 4 ready to go, all available for these majors. So the reason I'm saying that, it's important to identify that now. Once you've got 6 of 6 or how you're going, now we can take our quote unquote chances if we want with guys that aren't guaranteed these 4 for 4. because again, the number one thing we talked about last video, and I will agree with you 100%, is like we gotta focus on the Masters because that's the only thing we can really focus on right now. That's what we have in front of us to get out of the pod, smallest field, just limited people actually scoring in that event. So having the most outs just to simply move on to the next round is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, exactly. And the Keegan one is he's a tentative yes for the Open because he's 20th in OWGR right now, and you need to finish in the top 50. So that is a big split for him to kind of lose all that in the next couple months. When's the Open?
Yep.
The middle of July. So he's a pretty safe 4-4 guy, I think. And has upside. Like he's an upside play. Like in this range, I think his upside is high relative to some of the other like PGA Tour grinder types that I was talking about. And yeah, at that last pick being a live guy was definitely going to be I think the case for me for both of them. I think that the upside is just too big to pass up in this part of the board where like I don't really love too many of the options, with a handful of exceptions. So Brooks or Bryson was going to be the play, and Sheep took Bryson. Good job, Sheep.
All right, what are we thinking here?
Fuck. Oh, I said some nice things about Billy Ho, so we might have to take Billy Ho.
In terms of another 4, because he's 4. Yeah, in terms of a 4-for-4 guy that I agree with you. In terms of the skill set around him in ADP, I think he should be up there a little bit, kind of with these guys up there. I mean, definitely past, in my mind, Ricky Fowler, and Kurt is just getting the bump of what he did. So yeah, I like Billy. I've been taking him a lot. My darling that I like to bring up, just my guy that he won me one of my first 2 golf dailies. He was in my lineup, so I'll always have an affinity for Brian Harman. But man, you want to talk about boom or bust? I don't think you'll ever click his name, but that's Brian Harman for you right there.
Yeah,
short lefty, huh?
Good.
We want to stack short lefties.
He's a weird one because he has some I think he has excellent US Open history or some shit. Like he is just not the prototype whatsoever, but he just is around for some reason. So he's just kind of weird like that. But the other Billy Ho point that I wanted to make is we've really layered on these 4-4 guys early. And what that's going to do for us is with these last 3 picks. How many picks do we have left? Yeah, we have 3.
We have 3. Yep.
We can go wherever the fuck we want now. And our last 2 for sure are going to be nice, scroll the F down guys. Because we've essentially all the doors are open now because we have this solid 7-4 core. Whereas if we were the we'd already chased on a couple of meh guys, then we need probably to lock in a little more safety, which isn't as safe here as I would like it to be. So we can kind of go wherever we want, and that flexibility is really key with some of those mid-range guys.
Yep. I love that. All right. So what are you looking at here as Mr.? I'm just giving you this draft. You haven't drafted live, so
Answer, Woodland, Reed would be my 3, and I think it's probably Answer. Yeah.
For me, it would be Answer as well. Yeah, just in terms of pure just golfer here, and then it's just hope and pray that maybe we get a value on one of these guys. Between the 9th and 10th round, even the 8th, there's no difference. Same thing. I'll talk about that in MLB. Between the 16th and 20th, there's no difference. So Gary and people that have 10th round Gary, of course, I would love to have that, and they're definitely better off. If Gary or any of these guys are maybe to fall into that 9th, scoop them up, just take them. Perfectly fine. In Sheep's case here, back end 8th, for me, no difference than the picks back here. So it's just tough because you see guys that have, if you go to the sheet, the biggest risers, you may be deterred from maybe picking them. If it gets to the back end of the draft and they're still there, just take them. Just take them. To me, there's no difference. So I do just want to say, unfortunately, this is going to be our only draft we're going to be able to get done today. I got to run after this, but Chris said busy season's winding down. I'm honestly would be more than happy than a Friday, Saturday, just draft-a-thon, help me fill mine type deal. So this is not going to be the last, and we will not have probably a break in between like we did before. Honestly, I would suspect something maybe next week. just another little after dark stream, start filling these up, drafting with you guys. We need to pump this and get you guys to get in here and fill these up. And dare I say, maybe, I'm going to throw this out there. It's my money. I'm drafting with it. If we can do it, I think we try and fill a, what is it? The perfect swing. What do they call this thing? The longest drive.
The longest drive.
I say we try and do a fast longest drive. Let's get 5 other big sharks in here. I'll hit up my dad T-Box. We'll get him in here. He's got the funds. I'll be like, hey, we need it for the content play.
That fucking killed me. Yeah, Neumy, you're about 26 there. Yeah, that is exactly my age. Yeah, okay. Reminds me of my son. John was having a field day with that. The grin on his face after T-Box said that was just glorious.
John's just over there like, bud. And I'm just, that's in his mind, just like, I don't like that, bud. I'm just like, God. All right, what are we thinking here? You want to scroll the F down, shoot the moon? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we're gonna scroll down a little bit, and okay. I want to sell you on my guy, the Polish Giraffe. Give me some Adrian Maronk here in this spot.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give me some Maronk.
So watching him compete at the Olympics was so much fun, and then I've been rostering him in a couple in a daily rounds. It did not work out. I was on the wrong end of the round, variance of one round. But yeah, sell us on your boy Adrian.
So Mr. Maronk, he's in the Masters and the Open Championship based on his DP World Tour finish last year, which is the new name for the Euro Tour. So he's locked in for our 2 most important events. He's borderline for the US Open, I think, based on his OWGR, which is 53. And that one is a top 60. Get in.
Okay.
He is bubble-ish for that. He's probably another guy that would try and qualify if he didn't get in. And he hits the ball fucking far. He is a long driver of the golf ball, great off the tee, can strike it, can't putt. Shocking that is our archetype, but that is the type of guy you want to be targeting in this range, where he could pop for 1 week with the putter, and that's all we need. And he's won on the Euro Tour a couple times. He contended at, I want to say it was Torrey last year or 2 years ago. Maybe he had a cup of coffee at the US Open at Torrey. But the guy can hit the shit out of the ball, and that's perfectly fine with me for taking a shot this deep.
So here's someone that I've been kind of in on. Could be silly as he's on live, but what do you think here? Or do you have another guy? Do you have another guy that you wanted me to take?
No, I don't mind that. I had him on my previous list as well. I think I haven't marked him off as live in the sheet, but he is in terms of skill and just quality of golfer, he is higher than this on the list. He's another type of guy that's all super far, been on Ryder Cup teams before, been in big events before, has got no kind of fear of essentially going against the top guys. I think he's currently he's a 3 out of 4 guy. So he's in the Masters, he's in the Open, and he's a probable for the US Open. So I like that. And I like we've lined up 10 shots at the Open Championship right here. I think we are 10 out of 10 on guys that are going to be playing, and that's massive. So
yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah, the takeaway I'll think from here is if you can get guys right now that are basically they have the 2 yeses, but the 2 yeses are coming from the Masters and the Open Championship, those are going to be the guys you're going to want to target in the back end of these drafts. We're solidifying 10 out of 10 available for the Masters. Yes, these guys, barring any crazy withdrawals, anything happened. I know the caveat you said about Jon Rahm, nothing can stop him. The only thing can stop him is illness, apparently, as he withdrew today. That's the only thing. That's what's really going to stop these guys. There's nothing going to be that's going to do it. As you can see, my D-Gen here needs to pick it up a bit. I've just been it's hard to balance the dinger, the dance, and my NBA D-Gen ass. But yeah, if you're going to target these guys, those are the ones to do it. Yeah, you see in your sheet, Adrian Maronk, a perfect guy to target. And then you're going to start threading the needle pretty thin when you obviously scroll down here. And then I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're throwing out the same archetype that we did, I'm going to burn this guy's name, Kazuki Higa. He has a yes for the Masters and a yes for the Open Championship. Though that's not a guy we're necessarily on at all. So it's just in terms of, if you actually look at Maronk, I'm pretty sure he has actually maybe small legitimate odds for these. and he's actually playing well. He's playing in the PGA Tour right now, not a straight Euro guy. So it's just stuff like that. But setting, like you said, I think that's the big point, is setting ourselves up for that open championship, because the reason why we're doing that is the hardest field that we're going to get is the Masters being so small, being so limited, that more spots can open up for these end ones. But then the money being in the final round and being that open championship and already solidifying that, hey, if this team makes it, you have a 10 of 10 no matter what. You know what I mean? That's just a plus. I think that's a great way to target these back end guys if you want to start thrusting up and getting some scrolling the F down type guys. Because let's be honest, there's going to be some guys that end up scoring, and there's going to be many a duds and many a landmines. And it's just going to be the way of it. I mean, just because we're picking these guys and we're so sure and they have the good odds, just because we like Brooks Koepka doesn't mean he's going to come out there. Again, golf is so variant that anything can happen. And the beauty of these tracks is they're so tough that you'll get a mix of names on the leaderboard throughout these, like you'll get the guys, the mix of the stars and the scrubs type. That's what is the beauty of these specific tournaments. And also this players that's going on right now is you'll get these guys, the Chad Ramey, you also get the Scotty Scheffler and the Jordan Spieth that are up there, and these star players, the John Rahms before he withdrew and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a super fun game theory thing. And I think that's what you talked about is the playoff contest, is it just fits us so perfect, is it truly is game theory. And this is the most variant on top. You thought baseball was crazy. Like, this is going to be like the swings of potentially on Sunday, looking at your pods and seeing, I need this guy to literally not bogey. And if he does, I get enough points just to stay ahead. But if he bogeys, you slip, the sweats are going to be unbelievable.
The people are not prepared for what this is going to be, because the sweat of a single day of golf is insane. The sweat of a full weekend of golf is excruciating, especially if you have someone who is at the front on Sunday. Every shot is like life or death, and you can tell who has been there before and done it, and who's got like the fucking alligator blood and who doesn't. And that stretched out over the most 4 important tournaments of the year, in the first year that Liv is really having a foothold. And what is this going to be like? Everything about these majors is going to be insane this year.
Yep.
And we get to sweat it out 4 different times. So I'm fucking stoked. And I think it's going to be an awesome tournament. And I think that it's one thing for it to be fun and entertaining, and the other thing is that we have a legitimate edge, in my opinion. So you get to use that edge to basically fund your fun for 4 weekends of the summer. So I think there's a lot of room to play out there still, and I'm gonna get higher. I think I have 75 in so far, and I'm gonna hop back in the next couple weeks and just grind some of these out, because they're so, like, compared to like dingers are a fucking grind to draft compared to this. Like, these ones fly by as soon as you get them filled. So yeah, just kind of stay on top of the news. We'll definitely be back to break down things as we get closer, because the Masters field is going to be the most important by far, to like get into the minutia of who is on the cusp and who is actually drawing dead to get in. So we will have to update the people on that for sure. I actually had to Google Kazuki Higa to make sure he's a real person, because I had never heard of this man before. And
he's in the sheet, man. The sheet.
I saw
does
2.5. I almost brought him up as a 10th round pick, as being like, this guy's 2.5, and then I Googled him and he won. He got in through one of like the Japan tour things. So
move him up. That's all I know is if John's golfing, or if John's going to enter these streets, he's going to put all the money on him. So that sounds like a John type of guy.
Kazuki team.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, for the couple of you remaining here, I appreciate you guys being here. For anyone that watches this on replay and bears with the entire show, I appreciate it. I know we didn't get through as much drafts as we'd like to. We've gone through everything we need to in the base. We've gone through kind of the update. The remaining weeks, it's just going to be draft on drafts on drafts. Honestly, let's plan these out. Let's get these streams going next week. And that's, I mean, you saw how slow they fill. We're going to need you guys to help us do it. So the next streams will just be drafts, and maybe we get a 251 on there, huh? Maybe we try and get the
my mission for the next 3 weeks is to get 5 brave other soldiers to get in here and spend Neumy's money. So that's the goal. We need 5 wise men or women to hop in here and try and take some cash, because that's how many actual entrants are there in that tournament. Like there's not many spots open. I think it's a single entry for the
yeah.
in the longest drive one.
Yeah. It is only it's 432 like people, but there's only 36 entrants in it, which would be so we got what 6. I'm dumb right now. So we got 6 drafts. All
right. Yeah, we gotta make our way into that one. So we shall.
I don't want to see you in those streets, but anyway,
fasts aren't my vibe, but that's okay.
Well, hey, they have slows, but they
do that.
Yes, they do. Yes, that's what I did. My first one was a slow, but hey, guys, I appreciate you being here. We're gonna close this one up. Next, who knows? Be ready for some sporadic updates. We get the itch. We're watching the players. We say, hey, let's jump on there and just draft. Who knows? I'm gonna say it's open in the air. Now that this guy actually has a life, the job allowed him to get back to the sheets. Thank God.
Thank God.
But again, appreciate you all being here. It's been a wonderful time, Chris. I appreciate you coming here and just giving the knowledge for everyone. It's been fantastic. For me, for Chris, for the Badge Bros. Appreciate you all. Everyone have a good night. Peace.